My Mayday Scammer. I met Charles 1 year ago today, on May Day, 2024. He came to my Facebook Messenger stating that he saw my ad on the marketplace offering a refrigerator for sale. At the time, I was remodeling my house and I had placed the fridge, stove, a chest freezer, and a few other heavy appliances for sale on Marketplace. At the time, I had no idea that scammers existed on this platform when it came to the marketplace. I knew about romance scammers and dating scammers, but I never knew they were lurking on somewhere where people sell stuff. Charles messaged me saying he was interested in the fridge. I live in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and he said he was in Dallas, Texas, which it's close to 4 hours if you drive the speed limit. He asked me if I could hold the fridge until next week Friday when he would be back in town, as he said he was working out in the Gulf of Mexico and would return on that Friday and fly back to Dallas, then come to me to pick up the fridge. I hadn't gotten any other offers on the fridge, which was being sold for $250. I told Charles that yes, I'll hold it, but if I don't get a payment or plans to meet up by that Friday, I'd move on to another buyer. Charles told me that he was planning on coming back to town early Friday morning, and he explained to me that he was a single father, a widow. His wife had passed away 3 years ago, and he was left with his 7-year-old daughter, who he said her name was Maxine. He told me that he was away working on an oil rig in the Gulf and that his mother was watching his daughter while he was away, and the fridge at their home went out and he needed one soon as the food was spoiling. I told Charles, "Well, sorry to hear about your wife, and maybe his mother could drive up or meet me halfway and we can exchange cash for the fridge, as I did have a pickup truck and maybe my brother could help with moving it." Charles said that his mother does not drive and he would be unable to come until that next Friday as he's on an oil rig and he has limited access to his phone network, and he knows that his mother is unable to move the fridge anyways. He went on to talk about his daughter and how much she needs a motherly figure. I told him, well, I'm sure Grandma is great. And I found out that I got into a whole personal conversation about his life. And look, I'm just here trying to sell some items on the Facebook Marketplace. Charles asked if we could exchange numbers because he's not always on Messenger, especially with him being out of network a lot out in the ocean. I told him that it would be okay and to call me when he was back on dry land and ready to come pick up this fridge, and we could arrange payment and a time to meet in person. I didn't want to say anything, but I wanted my brother here with me when people come to pick up items at my home, just for safety's sake. Charles then asked if I was married, and this made me uncomfortable. When selling things online and dealing with people, it makes me worry if this guy was seeing if I lived alone or maybe he had some weird ideas. And I told him no, I have a homestead with my husband, my brothers, my sons, and all of our guard dogs. I didn't want this guy thinking I'm out here alone on my property, which is kind of how it really is. Charles again asked if I'm married and happily married, and that's why I cut the conversation short and told him if he wants the refrigerator, he can call me by that Friday morning, and my brother will meet you to exchange cash for the fridge and he'll help you load it into your vehicle. Charles said okay and that he would be in touch, and it was a couple days later when I received an SMS message from a Houston area code phone number. It said, "Hi, it's me, Charles, about the appliance." I told him it's still here. Is he coming Friday, and if so, what time? Charles said that his mother had emailed about the refrigerator and they're worried that they won't be able to keep their food fresh, and would it be possible for him to pay for the fridge now via an online payment and then pick it up Friday so he knew I was a serious buyer? I told him we can do that if he wants. He can send it through a bank transfer or I have PayPal. Charles told me he didn't have access to his bank right now, but he could definitely do an online PayPal transfer and asked for my information. I gave him my email so he could transfer the cash, and I told him I would save this text as an agreement to hold the fridge in exchange for the $250 PayPal exchange. I was even willing to deduct the transfer fee, which I think was around $2.99, just so I could get this fridge sold, and hopefully he can just come get it on Friday and we'll be done. Charles said he'd send the money within the hour. Great, I thought. It wasn't but a few minutes later I got a prompt from PayPal, a text message with my 6-digit code. I was confused by this, but this was followed up by a text from Charles at his Houston number asking me for the code, as it was a security requirement for him to transfer the money to a new person. Honestly, I don't know what was wrong with me. I chalk it up to being distracted, as at the time I was dealing with other things, and I just texted him the code that PayPal had sent me. He told me thank you, and I went about my day waiting for the transfer. After 4 hours, I did not get an alert of any money transfer, but what I did get was a notification that my password had been changed. The alert said if I did not request this change, then I need to follow the prompts. I was alarmed and clicked on the instructions. Well, I had a heck of a time, as the phone number associated with my PayPal had been changed as well as my password, and I could not log in. I then started to receive notifications from my bank that there were pending transactions for money transfers via PayPal. Smaller amounts like $100, and then a few more for $200 to $500 transfers, and I didn't know what to do. I had to call my bank and flag it for fraud, and then finally, through PayPal customer service, my account had been compromised and these transactions had taken place. 2 of the transactions, the smaller ones, went through before I was able to catch it. The $500 one did not go through, as I didn't have that kind of money in my account. I was absolutely in a panic and had to close everything down. It did take the bank around 3 weeks to return my money. Through this, though, PayPal did give me the email address to the person where the money went, and the person's first name was Emmanuel. PayPal let me recapture my account. I could see the person who the money was sent to, and they had a profile picture on their account as well as the country's flag where they were from, which was Nigeria. As for Charles, he responded to me on Facebook once more asking why I was a scammer and why I didn't save the refrigerator for him. He then went through all of my items that I had for sale on Marketplace and sent me messages through the Marketplace over and over again asking why I'm a scammer. It was so unreal. I have no doubt it was him. I reported his profile, and shortly after, it was taken down, or maybe he removed it. I decided to take down my Marketplace ads and do a good old-fashioned yard sale. I want people to pay attention. This was a simple mistake I made by giving him that code. I wasn't thinking. I was distracted and just had my focus on getting the money transfer done so I could move through my day with my other projects. Unfortunately, me being in a hurry and not thinking caused the scammer to be quicker than my brain, and in the end it cost me. Since this encounter, like so many others in your stories, I've been flooded with strangers on Facebook wanting to know me, sending me friend requests, even emails and texts. Since my PayPal email I used was the one the scammer got, my email is now full of offers for money-making scams, Bitcoin scams, and random emails from widowed men with children. It's absolutely shocking. One small mistake and something as innocent as selling appliances online causes headache. Be careful, people. It's easy to slip up and get locked out of your own account. Thank you. That's my story. And a big hello from Oklahoma. We'd like to thank this lady for sharing her story. Unfortunately, this happens a lot. People get these 6-digit codes sent to their phone, and if they didn't request the code or request an email change or a password change, that code is a ticket for a scammer to get into your account. So if anyone asks you for a 6-digit code, whether it be from PayPal or Facebook or anywhere online, simply say no, as you're literally giving them a virtual key into your account. If you'd like to share your encounter, you can find me scammingscammers@gmail.com. Just drop me an email with some screenshots. I'll be happy to narrate your story into a video. I am running a little bit behind on stories, so give me some time to read your stories, verify them, and your story could be made into a video to help others. As always, take care, stay safe, and again, you can reach me, scammingscammers@gmail.com.